How we doing, folks? Recording a best ball draft this morning. We got the 102. Had a topic I wanted to talk about, which was the difference between what a hero RB build looks like for me this year as opposed to previous years, because I've been finding my hero RB teams that I like the best uh, to look a little different than in the last couple years. So I'll get into that a bit after we make our first pick here, which will probably be Saquon or CeeDee Lamb. I've been pulling Lamb up to the 102 a decent bit. So do I want to take Lamb or do I want to take Barkley? I guess I'll take Lamb this time because it'll give me a chance to maybe end up with one of these teams that I wanted to discuss. I'm not saying I will. Kind of depends who falls on, you know, all that. But let's go look at a couple of these teams. So, previously, whenever I drafted a hero RB team in the last few years, it's pretty much always been a six wide receiver build. Because, like, this secondary area here in, like, the 80s through, like, 120 or something, you were always able to get some, like, decent projectable volume running backs. And this year, like, that cohort is, like, a lot worse. So like that's one problem with it. You could still do it, right? You could still like shoehorn in like your favorite picks from that area and do like okay and build kind of a similar build to the previous years. The other problem with that though is that like all the quarterbacks got pushed up so that they're now competing in that range. And a lot of like, the guys that you want as your tight end one, if you miss on like the elite guys, a lot of those other ones are coming from that area. So it's been kind of difficult. You don't really want to be taking running backs as much in that area. Plus, those running backs are probably the worst they've ever been. So, like, if you see this here, I have like a Chase Brown, which normally would have led me to a six running back build in the past, but for this year, I ended up taking seven in this build, and like I love, have awesome quarterbacks. I really like this wide receiver room, even though it's only seven deep. Like we have four very solid guys at the top. Obviously, I mean Olave has his questions, but you're betting on these guys being good if you're taking them this early. And then two pretty decently high upside rookies, and I like the upside on Cedric Tillman, and then Bowers and Strange. So like you're pretty much making every other position a strength when you do this type of hero RB build, which is kind of like what the previous zero RB builds accomplished. You're just kind of moving a wide receiver over to running back and trying to target getting your wide receivers done a little bit earlier. I have yet to take a single share of Josh Jacobs, so that's something I could think about, but I'm not terribly into. We'll take Trey McBride here. I think that's too cheap for Trey McBride. I think he's like a middle of round two guy, so happy to just scoop that up. My last team I started was Lamb, McBride, and Harrison, so I kind of don't want to do that again. So I don't know. I'll go back to my boy Garrett Wilson here. So yeah, I think McBride's falling back a little bit again, which is nice. So kind of pretty happy with this start. Like I said, I had just like literally the last draft I did before doing this video was a Lamb, McBride, Marvin Harrison team with Kyler. So, oh no, actually that was it was a Justin Jefferson McBride Harrison, not CeeDee Lamb. So I had pick 3. I took Jefferson, and it was Jefferson, McBride, and Harrison. Anyway, happy to get a little bit of a different start going here, and means we will probably get blocked from getting Kyler because the Harrison person will often take them before you if they're in your way there when you look at the board. Because like a lot of times, whoever took Marv here will cut him off. We'll cut Kyler off in this round here. So a lot of times you won't get Kyler because of that. So let's look at another one of these builds. There's another one similar. Jonathan Taylor. I would like never draft 7 running backs on a Jonathan Taylor team in the past. Like, didn't make any sense to me to do it. But this year it does make sense to me to do it because this year is so much different. So again, you see like I have like Purdy and Love, not the greatest quarterback combination you could possibly have, but really good, and 2 guys in that mid-range draft capital. For wide receivers, I have Chase, Wilson, JMO, Pearsall, Judy. Newell is a decent upside rookie. That's kind of a tough path. And I have Romeo Doubs, who isn't the most exciting, but I do have him paired with Jordan Love. So I am already betting on him some for that. And then I have a super elite tight end room here with Kittle and Kraft. So that is the benefit I'm getting there. So I have some interest in James Cook here. Other than that, the 2 wide receivers, I'm probably going to take one of those 3 picks, whether it be Hunter, Jameson Williams, or James Cook. Wouldn't mind doing Fields on this team. I haven't done Fields in a while. Possibly we could set up Dak as well. I don't really like Dak very much, but definitely just going to take James Cook or JMO. We'll take James Cook here. Don't take a lot of him. Don't mind him. Got a 5 pick ADP fall here. So probably will not end up doing a hero RB build this time because I'll probably end up with like Caleb Johnson or someone like that. Do we want to take Zay Flowers, Ridley? I guess I'll take Ridley here. I just do not want much Zay Flowers unless I'm specifically having Lamar. I just feel like Zay Flowers should be like down here. Well, I'm also pretty high on Ridley, to be fair. I do like that Ridley opens up another quarterback with Cam Ward stack being a possibility where Flowers does not open up another quarterback stack. So these last 2 have been like the more of this modified like hero where I'm taking one pretty early. This last one you'll see is more of like the old school 0 RB build. Like I consider Caleb Johnson a hero, but like a lot of people won't consider him a hero. So depending on how you view Caleb Johnson, to me he's like the last of the running backs where I can consider him like a hero RB. I think he has a ton of upside in that offense, and I think he's going to get used a ton. But, someone else might define this exact room as a 0 RB. Again, like, great quarterback combination, very strong at tight end with McBride and, like, any other guy that's decent. Then Justin Jefferson, Harrison, JMO. Oh, this is that team I was just talking about. Justin Jefferson, Harrison, JMO, Sutton, Burden, Tillman, and Pierce. I think you have enough upside here to like scoot a pick over to this running back room. Where in previous years, had I taken a running back at like 70, 75, and 123, those probably would have been like 3 guys that were like had a lot more projectable volume than these 3 guys do, because Trey Benson's is kind of low, and Caleb Johnson's a rookie. David Montgomery might lose touches this year. David Montgomery I do kind of like for these sort of builds because he's probably going to fat around and get his like 8 to 10 touchdowns. And then obviously if Gibbs gets hurt, then he's like supercharging your team. But so I have been taking 7 running backs and some some structures that in the past I might have been taking just 6. So here I am pretty interested in a running back if I can get one of Ken Walker, Judkins, or Caleb Johnson. Now I will get one of them. So I am going to take a running back here because I think the fall off is pretty big. And like I like guys like Jaden Higgins and Trey Harris and that kind of equal to some of these wide receivers in here. So I'll take Ken Walker here, just take the big ADP fall. I could consider taking Caleb Johnson too if he doesn't go here on the turn. I don't like only having 3 wide receivers, especially when we might be looking at Kyler next round. And we'll probably be looking at Fields with one of our next 2 picks if we're not looking at Kyler. So I'm going to take a wide receiver here. Just a matter of which one. Okay, I'll take Matthew Golden. Pretty excited to get him there. My opinion on Golden has changed some because I think the opportunity that he has is pretty good. I don't love the prospect profile. I'm not by any means looking to have a ton of Matthew Golden, but I'm fine with some Matthew Golden. So we'll probably look to grab either Kyler or Justin Fields. One of our next 2 picks. Let's go take a look at the board and see what we got going on. Wow, is that a running back run from Heck, huh? Really wish I would have been in the 12th spot here so I could actually get 2 of these wide receivers together. It's so hard to do now. Nothing against moving up McCaffrey to the spot. It's maybe where he should be, but I have Malik Neighbors basically as my 8th player and Ashton Jeanty is my 7th, so I'm getting like a lot of Malik Neighbors and Ashton Jeanty. Just kind of like looking to see if there's any like super weird structures. I think probably the weirdest might be this Renegade team that went Gibbs, Taylor, Kyron. Also felt the need to get Tony Pollard. I don't think this is the worst, but like if you're doing this, Tony Pollard needs to be the last running back you draft. So let's take a look at that when this draft is over. See if he drafts more. But I think if you're drafting these 4 and 3 in a row to start, you should be stopping at 4 running backs. Jaden Higgins going way, way high here. Guess that's the Nico guy. Yeah. So he's trying to build up like some Stroud stack, but he took Josh Allen here. I think if you're going to like pull up Jaden Higgins this far to go with Nico, it's fine, but you probably want to save that for like when you don't have Josh Allen and you're trying to supercharge a Stroud team, because like you don't really need to supercharge a Stroud team if you have Josh Allen. Kind of already have a quarterback hitting his ceiling for you with Josh Allen, just because he always is pretty awesome. If Luther Burden would have made it all the way back to me, I would have considered him. I will consider Brian Robinson in particular. I bet you he goes right here. Which means I'll probably... Ooh, he doesn't go here. All right, I'm going to take Brian Robinson here. And, this guy is not going to take Kyler and Justin Fields, so... Could take Downs. We could take Trey Harris. And kind of push quarterback. I don't really hate that at all. We have Dak as an option. We have Ward as an option. We have Love as an option. I think I'm going to take Trey Harris there, actually. Which I'm sure the guy who took Marvin Harrison will be pleased as hell to see. So that could definitely have been a mistake, but we'll see how it turns out. Really wanted to get the extra upside guy in on Trey Harris. It gives me, the option to go with maybe like a Love and a Herbert or something like that. Let's see if Kyler Murray went to that team. Yep, he did go to the Marvin Harrison. Oh no, maybe he didn't. Yeah, he did go to the Marvin Harrison team. It's a pretty decent looking team. Wide receiver 3, Luther Burden, is a little sketchy though. Where's that team? Oh, it's wide receiver 4, Luther Burden. That's not so bad. So let's kind of do this. Definitely going to take one of, if not two, if not both of those quarterbacks. Obviously, I would take Fields over them if he makes it back to us, but I think we're drawing dead for that. Yep, he goes off the board here. But I mean, so far the only piece we had that went with him was Garrett Wilson. Anyway, we could consider Dak as well. This price on Dak seems so disgusting. Why is Dak this expensive? He has no weapons, just only CeeDee Lamb. If Dak was consistently falling back to these spots, I would like him a lot more with CeeDee Lamb, but I just do not want to pay this price for him. I would much rather just take Drake May and figure out something at quarterback than take Dak, even if I had CeeDee Lamb. See if this guy has any Green Bay pieces or Chargers pieces. He does not. I'll just take Herbert here. Maybe we will pick up QJ later on. Maybe we won't. It's not anything else too enticing on this board to me. Maybe Javonte if we had not gotten Robinson. All right, I'm just going to have Jordan Love here. I don't really want to fuck around with Dak. I think Dak is poo. So we skipped a quarterback pick to get Trey Harris, but that saved us from getting. So I guess the 2v2 would have been Rashid Shaheed and Kyler versus Justin Herbert. So I don't know. I think that both those are fine. Herbert plus Trey Harris or Rashid Shaheed plus Kyler. Probably go either way there. I guess I have so much Justin Herbert that in retrospect, I wish I would have taken Kyler. So I'll have to think about that for the next time. There are some wide receivers I like down in this range here. I like Marvin Mims and Shaheed. I like Higgins and Trey. This is normally not where Higgins goes. So I like this Higgins, Harris, Shaheed, Mims. Michael Pittman's usually in that group. Downs is usually in that group. This board just went quite a bit different than ADP goes. So as far as late stacking pieces, we pretty much just got Dubes and Quentin Johnston. So let's kind of look at where they would go. Dubes often goes way after ADP, so should be able to get Quentin Johnston with one of our next 2 picks. Not too interested in Dubes, but I could do a super punt on tight end 2 because I have Trey Harris, so that's kind of appealing. Also wouldn't mind getting a tight end 2 of Isaiah Likely with Trey Harris. My favorite running backs to get in this round are Spears and Benson, and they both went off. Don't mind Garendo. I don't mind Reed Davis. There's Jalen Newell and Cedric Tillman down here as well. This is kind of like pricey for Isaiah or Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan should fall some more. I'm going to go ahead and take QJ, then we'll think about our next pick. I think that's 6 wide receivers, right? Yeah. This is definitely going to be a 2-6-8-2 because this is more than enough running back firepower that we're not really going to consider taking 7. This is not that scenario that I was showing in those other teams. It's more a question just, do I want to take Likely to get like a super high upside guy to pair with McBride? This is something I like haven't done at all. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Especially because I am going to go with 8 wide receivers, so I'm going to get 2 more swings at wide receiver here. Likely being like, you know, he's not going to be a 0, but like for part of the season, but he's ultimately inconsistent, right? Like it hurts you a lot less when you have one of these elite tight ends like a McBride or Bowers, because they're going to like provide you that floor those weeks. And then if Andrews or Flowers get hurt, Likely has spiked massively. I am a little bit worried about what effect DeAndre Hopkins could have in that regard, because now if Flowers gets hurt, are they just going to stick DeAndre Hopkins in the slot? Because at his age, like, it's kind of what he maybe should be doing anyway. Remember when Cardinals moved Larry Fitzgerald to the slot and like reignited his career to some degree? So only looking at running backs and wide receivers the rest of the way. And for running backs, there's like a ton of guys I like super late. So not very worried about finding running backs. Some of my favorite late picks at wide receiver are Pat Bryant. I think this guy has like a lot of upside. He's a very solid college player. I like the opportunity in Denver. He's like a big body guy, which is what Sean Payton seems to have wanted. Like, I think he will easily dust Devon Vele and take over that role. And I think he's good enough to make that role like grow from what it was with Vele. I like Darius Slayton a lot. I really like how his skill set fits with Russell Wilson and both with Jackson Dart as well. I think that he fits those guys way more than Wandell does, because they want to throw downfield and they aren't super into to throwing short as much, especially Russell Wilson, who doesn't like to target the middle of the field at all. He's like terrified of throwing interceptions. So there's a bunch of running backs like at the end of drafts that I feel like that I prefer to a bunch of the running backs up here. So that's why I'm like never in too much of a hurry to grab running backs at this point. I would like to get Braylon Allen if I could, because I have Garrett Wilson and make a little bit of a play on this Jets bet, but if we don't get Braylon Allen, no big deal. Might take Thielen, might take Alec Pierce. Thielen goes. I probably would have taken Thielen over Alec Pierce if I had the choice, just because I think Thielen fits with this group here a bit better, where we might just want like a steady Eddie type of wide receiver. So I could consider Keenan Allen, who I think eventually will find a landing spot and be basically similar to a Thielen, or I could just keep hammering the upside plays and go with Alec Pierce. think since I'm going to have 8, I'm just going to go with Alec Pierce. Try to capitalize on the big plays. I'm going to save a wide receiver pick for the last round. We may not get him, but I would like to try to see if we could score Savion Williams in round 18. He's a guy I don't take hardly ever because like it's really not that difficult to get guys to stack with Love, but I do think he has some upside. In particular, like if something were to happen to Jaden Reed. Plus, like I just think that they drafted him in the 3rd round for some sort of a reason. Like that reason might end up being something that we don't love for fantasy, but it also might be something that we do love for fantasy. So, what does he even like have an ADP? Barely. So, stick him in the queue, but I'm only interested in him if it's my last pick. If he goes, that's fine. We'll figure out something else to do with that last pick. Let's go back and take a look at that guy who had the 3 early RB spots. Okay, so his team is a dead team. Wow, that's kind of shocking, Red Badge. But like this, Red Badges can come from playing a completely different game sport. So I don't hate this idea of starting with these 3. Obviously, getting Tony Pollard after that instead of attacking wide receiver when you only have these 3 guys is like a bit of an issue, but like it still could work out if you build the rest of your team the right way. He got Michael Pittman as wide receiver 4, which is like okay, probably actually a good thing to do if you have this going on, and then build a bunch of like the Alec Pierce type bets after Pittman. But my lord, is that not what he did? He went drafted 4 quarterbacks, Zach Ertz, Najee for no reason whatsoever. So I was interested to see if that team was someone I thought was building extremely good and like maybe give me an idea on how to maybe copy the start. But that's I am not too interested after seeing the rest of what went on there. Okay, here we're gonna take my boy. We'll ship. Oh, actually, we'll take Marshawn Lloyd. Reason why I'm taking Marshawn Lloyd is Jordan Love thing. Then we will take Shipley or Jarquez Hunter. Which am I more interested in this build? I guess it doesn't particularly matter either way. I'll just take Shipley. I like Shipley a little bit more than Hunter. So, got Herbert and Love. For Herbert, we have CD. For Herbert, we have Trey Harris and QJ, which is all right. For Jordan Love, we have Marshawn Lloyd, Matthew Golden, and are hoping to add Savion Williams. I like these 2 quarterbacks. Like I said, if I could 2v2 my way back to the past, I would take Kyler Murray instead of Herbert, and I would have ended up with Rashid Shaheed instead of Trey Harris. But I don't think this is a huge negative or anything. That's one where I want to kind of keep an eye on like those decisions I'm making and not always be making the same one. But like it's fine to do some of this and some of that. So quarterback, I think we're solid at B plus here. 2 guys with weekly upside. Running back group is very, very decent. Cook, Ken Walker, Brian Robinson, Braylon Allen, Lloyd, and Shipley. Wide receiver, we've got Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, Matthew Golden, Trey Harris, QJ, Alec Pierce, and hoping to add Savion Williams. Guess we need to throw some guys in the queue in case he goes. And we have maximum upside at tight end with McBride and Likely. So let's take a look at wide receiver real quick. See who might be a few other guys we might be willing to take with this last pick. If Savion Williams goes. I don't mind Ty Felton either. Kind of interested in MVS, but I think Horton has more upside, so I don't know. That one's a little tough. Don't mind Yoshi either. Could easily have thrown him in this queue, but it doesn't seem necessary now. All right, let's do it. Savion Williams comes back to us. So, all in all, liking this team quite a bit. That's a solid squad we got. All right, thanks for watching and good luck in your drafts, folks.